My name is Chris Jenkins. I am the developer for AvigationPro.com. This is a website that is designed to help student pilots in their pursuit of a private pilot license. I've been a certified flight instructor since 2004. I currently operate a Hawker 800. I'm a captain for a charter operator, and I've got over 5,000 flight hours. Been helping student pilots along the way pretty much the whole time. The Avigation Pro website has some free educational content. I've got some social media platforms going to get the word out, get information out that'll be helpful to people. There's a bio page and my contact info. But the main feature that the website offers is a online course, premium content that is a paid product, and it exists to help student pilots save money, save time and effort as they move forward in training. Flight training is a fairly complex and expensive project, and I want to come along beside you and mentor you through the process and help you do it better, because there is a better way to do it. Here's a chart to show some current trends within the industry, so you can see how many student pilots were issued in calendar years 14, 15, and 16, and compare that to the number of initial private pilot certificates issued in 14, 15, and 16. These are statistics from the FAA's Airman Statistic Center on the FAA website, and you'll see that the numbers could be better. It's only about 39% success rate for those 3 years. Students who receive their student pilot certificates who actually finish the program and are awarded with a private pilot certificate. So the dropout rate is unacceptably high, and I'd like to change that. Here's another graph here. The number of training hours required by the FAA are minimum of 40. That's found in part 61. That's why it says required 61 over there. 40 hours. But on average, people fly significantly more training hours when they're pursuing their private pilot's license. The 141 sample was from a professional pilot program at a major university. So this is kind of the cream of the crop, but even at a study that I looked at, those students were found to fly on average 56.4 hours, which constitutes a 41% increase over and above the number of required hours. National average, depending on where you look at, which industry expert you're listening to, it could be anywhere from 60 to 70 or 60 to 80 hours, and respectively. That's a 41%, 50%, all the way up to 100%, so that'd be double the cost. If you consider for a moment that the most expensive line item in the budget for this project is the hourly operating cost of the airplane you're flying, it doesn't take long to figure out that what people are spending, it could be the cost for this project could be sized down significantly if we could get people flying more efficiently as they move through their flight training. The study that I was looking at, this guy was working on his master's thesis from the University of Southern Missouri, and he made this statement: flight training has not had any major changes since World War II. I don't want to take him out of context. This is speaking specifically in regards to how the aeronautical experience that is required and the flight proficiency that is required is obtained. Commercial syllabuses are available. The schools are using these commercial syllabuses, and basically it's a standard approach to get people up to speed to be able to pass the test for a private pilot. That approach has not changed. Now, the industry has changed in regards to safety, so the NTSB is constantly performing accident investigations and providing safety recommendations to the FAA, who turns around and makes mandates to flight schools. And so in the area of safety, the industry has steadily improved. But just like this flight instructor was interested in doing things that could make the process more efficient in the sake of saving people's time and money, get them finished up. So digging in a little bit more into his research, he said, based on the data that the FAA publishes, it's really kind of difficult to obtain meaningful statistics just based on the fact that the FAA is collecting information that deals with safety, not necessarily efficiency. These 141 students at his institution were flying an average of 41% more hours than required. Again, that's a significant opportunity for savings for students who can cut down those numbers of additional training hours. He did an experiment to see if he could reduce the number of training hours, and notable in the information that he pulled was that of a small sample of 23 volunteer students, 6 students dropped due to insufficient funding. Now, if you think that's a 23% dropout rate right off the bat for student pilots enrolled in a professional pilot training program, that is significant. And that is in line with the dropout rate that we see across the industry as a whole. So what does all this mean? Big picture is that many beginning flight students have no concept of the commitment that they're making when they sign up for flight training. Through this process that is expensive and complex, they're learning how to navigate this process while they're actually flight training. And then the end result is that you end up not getting it done within budget or within the schedule. It'd be like a major home renovation project. If you were going to do, a $10,000 roof job all by yourself, you'd make mistakes along the way. But if you could sit down and talk to an expert who had been installing roofs for the last 30 years, you could learn a lot from that person. And that's kind of the way this website's designed to work. Avigation Pro offers a low-cost training program tailored to student pilots to teach them how the training process works. You'll learn how to train properly before actually starting, or if you've already started, you can kind of play catch up here. But you're going to get a really good handle on the flight training process and things that you can do to be more efficient, do it at lower cost, and progress through the training more quickly. So here's how it works. Basically, you purchase this training course. It amounts to about 10 hours of material if you sit down and go through all of it. There are links to primary and secondary sources, and there's enough material in there that you could spend tons of time, going through it all line by line. But essentially, if you go through and give the course the time it really deserves, it'll take you about 10 hours. It's a one-time purchase. The course is unlocked forever, and it will never expire. So if you're one who will put your flight training on hold, 6 months later, a year later, you come back, or let's say you complete your training, get a private pilot's license, and 2 years down the road, 4 years down the road, 6 years down the road, you can use this as a resource to prepare for flight reviews and currency type training events that you'll do later on. There's no subscription required. The one flat fee covers it for life. And you get direct email and telephone support from me, the developer. I've got current students that will reach out to me via text message, email, and I'm easy to get a hold of, and I would love to personally work with you to support you through this project. So what's covered in the training course? Well, it starts off and we discuss all the privileges and limitations associated with the private pilot's license. You'll understand what you can do, what you can't do, and what it stages you to do if you're interested in pursuing further training. Then we go through the Airman Certification Standards. This is the FAA publication that dictates what you have to accomplish and how you have to accomplish. In other words, the maneuvers must be performed a certain way, within certain limitations and to a certain level of proficiency. So you'll know going in exactly what's expected of you and exactly how to prepare. We go from there into aeronautical knowledge, aeronautical experience, and flight proficiency. That's where you need to get to ultimately to be tested and evaluated. And I show you exactly where to go to get the information on what the requirements are, and then I'll point you in the direction of resources that will help you. Speaking of resources, we go specifically into the differences between the different types of flight training institutions. You'll get a thorough explanation of the difference in Part 61 schools versus Part 141 schools. We talk about accelerated flight training. We talk about the pros and cons of training in a conventional aircraft as opposed to training in a technically advanced aircraft, and the difference in cost that those different options can offer. There's a lesson on private pilot training cost analysis where I actually provide you with a spreadsheet, and we go line by line through the items, and you personally select your resources that you're going to use, all the variables, so you can come up with a good budget for your program and what it should cost, um, based on your personal situation. Then we discuss common mistakes that people have made in the past. Again, the national average somewhere in the ballpark of 60 to 80 hours. Took me 68 hours right there, and if I would have known what I knew now, I could have done it much cheaper, many less hours. I was talking to a professional pilot the other day, a buddy of mine. He works for Wheels Up, the air charter operator, flying a King Air 350. He said, Chris, if I would have had this information available back when I was going through primary flight training, it could have saved me $20,000 over the course of a professional flight training program. So if you're talking about multiple ratings, the lessons you'll learn here could add up and make a substantial difference. If you're working toward a private pilot's license, the cost of the course equates to about an hour and a half of flight time. So if you shave any amount of flight time, the course is going to pay for itself. But I'm banking that the people that dig into this course and use it are going to come out way ahead. The course should pay for itself multiple times over again. Finally, I end up with giving you a step-by-step game plan for success. And at the end of the course, I actually like to speak to everyone personally over the phone, just to answer any questions, tie up any loose ends, and honestly get your feedback, so I can go in the future and continue to keep the course current with updated videos, updated content, and things that people suggest would make it better. So if you purchase the course, I'm hoping that we'll have a chance to sit down and talk personally. The benefits of the training for the flight student over on the left will be reduced number of flight training hours, reduced program cost, an earlier completion date, more resources available for either additional training or to go fly. If you've got X number of dollars apportioned for your flight training budget, if you're going to stop with a private pilot's license, you're going to be much happier out using it for your business expenses, for your personal travel expenses, as opposed to continuing spending your money training. Also, pilots on a professional flight training program can expect a earlier hire date, because you'll be moving through those certifications and becoming qualified and marketable as a professional pilot earlier. That's a big deal. Anybody on a professional flight training track should be anticipating the very first day you go fly and someone pays you to fly the airplane, as opposed to you flying the airplane and paying the full hourly operating cost. Benefits for flight training institutions and certified flight instructors will be that their students who come to them from Avigation Pro have a lower dropout rate. They're going to know exactly what they're getting into, and by the time they show up for lesson 1, they're going to be prepared. They're going to have fewer repeated lessons, which will free up CFIs and aircraft on the schedule for other students. Students that are currently enrolled in a private pilot training course will finish the program sooner, and this will free up new slots for new students, new entrants to come into the program and begin utilizing those resources of aircraft and certified flight instructors. And then for the industry as a whole, more pilots have the opportunity to be certified sooner. I misspelled need, look at there. But it will meet industry labor demand. More pilots certified sooner to meet industry labor demand. Final benefit. So, where do you get the course? You go to AvigationPro.com and you click the Buy It Now button, and then all payments are accepted securely through PayPal. You can pay with a debit or credit card, just like so. You don't even need a PayPal account. Make sure as you're checking out to include your email address down here, because that will be where I deliver the course to. I'll email you a direct link straight into the course, and that's how you'll get access to all the information. Once again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can check out the website, AvigationPro.com. You can email me directly, ChristopherJenkins1783@gmail.com. You can even call me directly. That's my personal cell phone number. Feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text. I would love to hear your plans, your goals, why you're looking into flight training, and what kind of system you've got set up to accomplish that. And I would love to be a resource to help you out along the way. Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you.